how about the news this week? There's a lot of news that is going on. We have new contract signings. We had a press conference that went completely off the rails and is putting WWE in a position that I don't think we've seen them in a long time, or if ever, really, in terms of their booking and their storytelling. But we'll start with the recent signings. The first one that seems to be essentially confirmed is Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. She's officially heading to AEW.
Oh,
She was secretly on the AEW payroll since January, according to Fightful Select.
yeah,
Her
okay.
official debut will be at the Big Business event in Boston on March 13th. It feels like they're essentially doing the same thing they did with CM Punk. It's a lot of kind of wink, nod type stuff. So
The
yeah,
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest. Yeah, exactly. The Forrest Whitaker.
Don't tag him. Don't tag him. Sorry.
Jeez Louise. So during these negotiations, she did sign with AEW, but she was also working with WWE to try and get a contract that worked for her. Unfortunately, that side failed due to financial issues. So AEW reached an agreement with her shortly after WWE's talks ended. And now her impact in AEW seems to be something that a lot of people are talking about. Um, what do you guys think about Mercedes going to AEW? Do you feel like her presence is going to elevate the women's division? How do you think Tony Khan is going to use her in AEW? What do you guys think?
You think they finally got like a real worker, like somebody that could go with that like 15, 20 without like really slowing down?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's obviously a name, so I think there's going to be an initial kind of shot in the arm kind of a thing, just out of curiosity. But the cynical side of me says it's going to be very short lived. It's going to taper off probably by like summertime, like the hype, the newness or whatever, unless they have like a true plan and it's like something that's super like stands out for that specific division, the women's division. Um, I mean, good, but is it worth the money? I'm guessing he paid like a fuck ton of money for Mercedes Moné. I
Yeah.
wish I knew what that the contract was. That's probably an interesting thing to know. But hey, man, if he wants to burn money, good for
I
him.
mean, Charlotte Flair, her contract issue with WWE when they were renewing her contract, according to news outlets like Fightful, she received the highest contract signing award money salary for yeah, salary out of any women wrestler ever. So Sasha Banks Mercedes must have been asking for something that's considerably higher for WWE not to want to pay her. That's
That's
what
what
it
I was gonna
sounds
say.
like, right?
Yeah. And I feel like her going to AEW, yeah, it's gonna bring, you know, good for the women's division and stuff. Obviously, she's very talented in the ring and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, man, what was the fact that WWE couldn't even afford it? Wow, you know,
Well,
wasn't
they
asking
could
for big
afford it.
bucks, and they could afford it, but just didn't want to. I guess, you know, not for her. Like, they're like, oh, Tony
Yeah, I
Khan will
think
pay
they
that.
could afford
You
it,
know?
but the roster that they currently have, perhaps they felt like they didn't need that kind of presence in their
Yeah, it's
roster because they
stacked.
have a lot
It's
to work
stacked.
with.
Yeah, yeah. She could definitely do more. I feel in AEW.
She
Um,
could, but patterns with AEW booking and signing new
yep.
talent and saying, you know, hello, we have Jay White, we have Will Ospreay, who hasn't joined yet 100%, but these kinds of people who are given the red carpet. Tony Khan says this is an amazing signing. He puts them on TV. He jumbles together some dream matches, and then they kind of get lost in the shuffle. And there isn't a coherent story buildup for these kinds of stars that he signs. And I think that's partially why there's this ongoing online sentiment about Tony Khan calling his wrestlers action figures because it feels more of like a collection of wrestlers as opposed to building coherent storylines. And, you know, Vince McMahon
Who?
he liked to do everything and liked to have his
Uh-oh.
finger in every single aspect of the business.
Yeah.
But with WWE, he did have a writing team still. So Tony Khan maybe wants to imitate Vince in that business, but he is not implementing an infrastructure when it comes to story building like WWE should. And he honestly should, because there are so many people on his roster. He has so much amazing talent. And right now it feels like AEW is putting like one women match, one women's segment per Dynamite, per Collision. And they've been getting a little better recently this year, but it's still not as good as the kind of talent that they have that should be exposed and being taken advantage of. Like Athena, for whatever reason, she's on Ring of Honor. She should be used better. You got Sky Blue, you got Deonna Purrazzo, you got the maid chick. I forgot her name.
Thunder Rosa.
You got Thunder Rosa. You got Britt Baker. Like where's Britt Baker?
She's taking care of Adam Cole.
Well, she could take care of Adam Cole, and she could also be on TV. And
she's still a dentist during the week.
She's a dentist, but she also said, and I don't think what she posted on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, I don't think that was an angle when she was complaining on Twitter or X that she only had like one segment the entire year in 2023. I think that was legitimate. So
just to play devil's advocate, how much of the kind of the online narrative and perspective of current AEW is the fault of that? Like the viewership on TV, how much is that just like people just reading something on the internet and then they're just like, oh, I guess that's true, and then they just don't even tune in? You know what I mean? Like the Cornets and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of this like kind of like negativity through their talking points or whatever. And I think there's a lot of just that echo chambery shit just kind of going through the internet. I wonder how much of that's affecting like viewership.
Well, it's affected. Well, it could affect viewership, but what if you as an AEW viewer, and you and David and maybe Andres, you watch more than I do because I watch a little to none. Do you feel like that perception is reflective in the product as it stands right now? Do you think those patterns that people complain about are accurate?
I think it's a little off.
I think it's extreme for sure. I think there are issues, but I don't see it as like this fucking like just dumpster fire like every week.
Yeah.
Like they just don't know what the fuck they're doing at all. Like they're making it sound like it's a complete amateur hour. Sure, there's gonna be those botches and stuff or whatever, but I don't think it's to that extreme. I think there was damage done probably since the Punk thing. I think the Punk thing is the biggest issue that WWE is still, or AEW is plagued by, you know, to this point, because of such a big talked about thing. And I think people just kind of gave up on the product at that point, and then it's just been that narrative the whole time, I think. So, you know, just to turn it back to Mercedes, you know, can she do something to kind of make it a more positive? I mean, I don't remember her WWE run well. I remember watching it, but do you think she was like a big needle mover in WWE?
She really came into her own during COVID. Like her and Bailey kind of like held it down.
Because when
her main roster, she came into her own during COVID, and their NXT run was legendary, and a lot of people like to say their series of matches are some of the best women's wrestling matches ever. And when she debuted on Raw and SmackDown, when she was being used on those shows, I thought she did really well, and they did treat her as a main event star. In the last part of her career in WWE, there were issues because she wanted to build up WWE women's tag teams, and it wasn't reaching that level that she thought was promised to her when they initially introduced those tag team belts. And you pair that with pay, and she felt like she wasn't appreciated enough, and probably the Vince McMahon stuff. I'm sure there's a lot more behind the scenes revolving around that. And yeah, she left. She started touring, going around the world, going to Japan, and now she's signing with AEW. Now, you mentioned something with AEW and talked about how there were things that were blown out of proportion, but the biggest issue a lot of folks talk about is in terms of storytelling, and it feels like there is a lot of dream matches that are jumbled together, but it's not attached to something that is like story based. Do you think that's accurate?
I don't think
And
that's accurate. Not
I think it's
100%.
inaccurate.
well,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this: if we look at AEW's the picture of AEW right now, the upper, mid, lower card, can you name me the biggest rivals and stories right now that are happening on AEW?
I think so.
Give me one.
Uh, Blackpool Comic Club versus all those guys from CMLL right now. Tony Storm. I feel like she has like 4 segments a week.
Yeah, Tony
So-
Storm has a lot. So I mean, like, just like to talk about like the women's division, that he's been definitely kind of, you know, putting the spotlight on those girls, Tony Storm and all them. Deonna Purrazzo, she's been getting a lot of opportunity lately. So I think there's a lot there.
And then
Okay.
Mariah May, like they're slowly building her story within Tony Storm's story.
Brian
And
Danielson.
is Tony Storm feuding with someone specifically, or is there like a series of women that she's interacting with, and they're all just kind of involved with Tony Storm and the women's title picture?
It seems to be Deonna Purrazzo right now because they're building that match to Revolution. So there's been a lot of segments with her that have been pretty good. They had that little press conference thing that was pretty good. Good energy. I mean, the storyline is there because I mean they talked about the little tattoos they got when they were
New
rooming
Japan.
to New Japan and all that. So there's a lot of that personal shit kind of there. So I mean, there's stuff there, and I think they just need to do a better job. It just stacking Collision and stacking, you know, Dynamite, because you have like guys like JY and stuff like that. You know, on the male side, Brian Danielson. So
They're doing well with keeping Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander together too.
yeah, they're
And then,
good.
like Julia Hart and Sky Blue.
Mm-hmm.
When Mercedes signs, and all signs point to her showing up at Big Business, and the tickets are. So someone on X or Twitter said it sold out in 15 minutes or whatever. That's inaccurate.
Pre-sale.
There were actually tickets that were still available. When I looked on Ticketmaster, there was a section that was still open. Maybe it's gone by now. And as of this recording, whenever we upload this onto YouTube, perhaps it's completely sold out. But either way, it's good news for Mercedes and for AEW. Where does Mercedes fit in AEW when she gets there? Where do you guys think they're going to put her? Is she interacting with Tony Storm? Is she doing her own thing and interacting with, you know, former WWE stars like Saraya? What do you think they're going to do her? What do you think they're going to use her for?
I mean, sky's the limit, to be honest. I mean, it could go anywhere. Maybe Thunder Rosa. I don't know if Thunder Rosa has a program right now, but I mean, Tony Storm or whoever is going to be champ, because is that before Revolution or after Revolution?
Right after.
Yeah, so
Big
I mean,
Business is after.
for sure, anybody, whoever's the champ at that point, there's going to be that feud, I'm guessing. So, and I mean, if it's true with the WWE creative stuff that she left because of that reason, I think Tony Khan is enough of a cuck to give her like essentially whatever the fuck she wants to do. So she probably has free reign for storyline and women's creative and stuff like that. I bet you it has something like that's probably her contract. So she probably is gonna be like a kid in a candy store when it comes down to the booking decisions and stuff like that. So
yeah, I can see her going right for like the main title scene already, like right off the bat, to be honest. But
I feel like
with
that's
her, like,
common
name like
sense. You know,
Yeah.
you're paying her. She's probably the highest paid wrestler on the globe. I'm assuming, because if WWE couldn't or didn't want to shell out the money and Tony Khan could, there's no way that she isn't the highest paid wrestler on the globe right now. There would make there's no sense at all if she wasn't included in the title picture. So I feel like she should, you know, show up, debut, and be in the title picture, or be in the conversation about being in the title, because she is the moneymaker. You want to make her the face of the women's division.
I could see her being like the female kind of like CM Punk effect. I think she has the potential to kind of do that. So I mean, I'm sure that specific Dynamite, that's going to be kind of make or break, but I'm guessing there's enough hype behind it where that initial kind of shot in the arm is going to be highly effective. Because then, like, people also made the argument that, you know, Punk didn't move much, you know, as his like tenure kind of went on there, until, you know, he kind of fucked up. But we'll see.
I mean, when he
Kinda.
left and after all that drama, it feels like the ticket sales for various shows did lower after he left. And maybe it wasn't just because of CM Punk. Maybe, like you said, it was partially word of mouth or social media conversations, or just disappointment in the product as it is, right, as it stands right now. Because there have been issues for them selling out shows when it comes to their weekly television shows, and that's you know, that's not just speculation or just someone's opinion on Twitter. That's actually true.
Right.
Well, were the shows like already like not selling out, even like within the tenure of like CM Punk leaving? By the time he left, like were the shows already kind of like going downhill for the attendance?
It was pretty good, I think, until
It was
like
good.
there was a lot of hype in that 2021, 2022
Sure,
time
but
period.
I've honestly never seen such a a mutiny against AEW with the fans because Punk, you know, like quit or got fired with whatever happened with the whole situation. Because I remember seeing a lot of people love Punk and then hate WWE, and then he like, you know, he left and then he went over to AEW. Then they all came over to AEW, and then he gets fired there, and then goes back to W. And like, oh yeah, fuck AEW. I'm like, man, this is so weird.
Just fickle. I mean, like that's just your average wrestling fan, I think. You know what I
Is
mean?
it? I don't
Eating
know.
their
Maybe 'cause it's-
cereal, reading their dirt sheets.
Yeah.
I
That
agree, though.
too.
Wrestling fans are fickle, and their opinions historically have changed on certain wrestlers depending if they're a face or a heel,
Fickle.
or if they finish the story or whatever it is. A lot of people are saying that once Cody Rhodes wins the belt, everyone's going to be tired of Cody Rhodes and they're going to start complaining about him. But
It's
When he
possible.
turns into Super Cody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Cena effect. I mean, for sure. It's going to happen.
But I think at least with Cody Rhodes, he has the ability, and this might be dependent on WWE, because the reason John Cena didn't turn heel is because of the merchandise sales. So that might be also a reason why Cody Rhodes doesn't turn heel. But this is a new era, and we'll touch upon this later with the press conference, as Triple H alluded to during the press conference. It's a new era. They are doing things in a different way, and that press conference definitely showed that. But let's move on to Kazuchika Okada, who is also allegedly heading to AEW, according to Fightful Select, after wrapping up his NJPW career.
He just finished yesterday, as of Sunday, the 11th.
What was that?
He just finished yesterday.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Exactly. He finished just yesterday, as of this recording, which is February 11th. But guys, by the way, it's not, we do know our dates. He was the top wrestler in New Japan. And according to Fightful Select, he is joining AEW after he's finished, which was the other day. It's not officially finalized, but AEW has been confident for several weeks, with discussions starting back in mid-January. And his AEW debut will be after fulfilling his NJPW obligations, which was yesterday, possibly in March. I think, personally, they might do a 1-2 punch of debuting Mercedes and then Kazuchika Okada at the same time. Because I think they did that with Bryan Danielson, and I forgot who the other person was, but
Adam Cole.
There you go. They did both of them the same night, and I think that's something that he'd probably go back into his bag of tricks and do again. The deal that he received allegedly is more financially competitive than WWE, And there are a number of wonderful matches you could do WWE and AEW, but it looks like all signs point to Kazuchika Okada going to All Elite Wrestling. What do you guys think about that news story? Do you think that's a good idea for him? And where do you want to see him in AEW?
I think it's great for him because he doesn't because of the fan base that AEW has. If he's in titleless programs, it's not really going to affect his aura. And then the minute he gets a title, it's just going to be like going up.
Yeah. And I think with AEW, there isn't that much of a buildup that you would need to do as opposed to WWE. WWE is a massive global brand. And I think there would obviously be a good portion of the audience that would know who he is. But I think it would require more of a slow introduction for Kazuchika Okada in WWE versus AEW. Tony Khan seems like he has a bottomless pit of money, and he probably threw as much money as he can at him. And the amount of dates that would have to work, and I think also that collaboration with New Japan. I'm not sure where their collaboration or relationship stands right now, but I think that's also a partial reason why he would go to AEW more, because he could potentially still be doing matches under AEW contract, but working in New Japan when they want to do, a deal together. But I think it's a good idea. What do you, Chris? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I wonder if it was true with the if he was in WWE, he had to move to the United States versus he can be in Japan and then just show up whenever he needs to be here for like AEW. I wonder how much that played a role, or if that's even true, because I don't even know if that's true. Like you have to live here in the West if you're with like WWE or whatever.
A lot of your dates are primarily in the United States. There are global events and tours that they have, but a lot of their dates are in the United States. I mean, so does AEW, but I think
house shows.
Yeah, that's the other thing with house shows, that they don't have as difficult of a schedule with AEW as they do with WWE, because you have all these live tours that they do in small cities in between shows during the week. So you're doing Monday Night Raw, you got like 2 or 3 house shows in between, then you're going to SmackDown, and then you're basically on the road for like 300 days of the year. I think they've slowly shifted and adjusted that schedule, but I think for Kazuchika Okada, it seems like AEW's contract and deal is a much more lucrative and tempting offer. And again, the conversation about how he's going to be used, similar to Mercedes, and historically people who have been signed up with AEW, like Jay White, like Adam Copeland, people of that ilk, who are super top tier, and in the pattern kind of, you would say, is a mixed bag in terms of how they get booked.
I could see, actually, I just had a epiphany, I guess, as far as like his booking. I bet you money that Bryan Danielson wins that Triple Crown, and then that's the feud there, because he had that feud with Okada last time. I think he had 1 match or 2 match or something. He was supposed to wrestle him at Wrestle Kingdom, or was that just a rumor? Or like that's what people wanted, or he got injured or something. Somebody got injured. What happened?
Wrestle Kingdom didn't he go against Zack Sabre?
Oh yeah, maybe it was Zack Sabre I'm thinking about. But he fought Okada in AEW, right? Was that Forbidden Door?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's the feud right there. That's what I'm guessing is where it's gonna go. So Bryan takes the Triple Crown off of Eddie Kingston. Boo. And then because did Bryan Danielson, did he have any gold? Was he champ? He wasn't champ.
He has not had any gold
right
in AEW yet.
Right. So I mean, that's almost obvious now that he's going to be Triple Crown champ, and now you're going to have Okada v Bryan Danielson. Now I wonder how he's like the presentation side. I mean, he's not an English speaker, so I wonder if he's going to have like a mouthpiece or something. I wonder.
No, in real life, he keeps a translator with him.
Okay. I wonder if he's going to bring him in for like any segments, because I mean, that's going to be important, I'm guessing.
Well, how has AEW historically dealt with Japanese wrestlers who speak mainly Japanese, like Riho or Suzuki?
They don't really
They just
talk.
they just have a match.
They
And
got
that's it?
Kenny back there.
Yeah, but he's not doing translations for every Japanese wrestler during promos, do they? Like, do they even give them promos? Do they just show up and do a match and then
They just do
get the
matches.
fuck out of there?
No.
All I remember, they just speak as best as they could, and that's honestly good enough.
I mean, Takeshita, I think I'm pretty sure I remember him just cutting a promo in Japanese, and then it was just like, they just, I guess, understood like what he said. Like, what's her name? Moxley's wife. Like she would already
Renee
just,
Paquette?
there you go. Like she would just know what he said, I guess, or whatever. Or-
She was like, yeah.
Yeah. Or that one guy who had his phone translate, like he would have it talk for him. I love that. I forgot his name
The
though.
dudes are all like second characters. They speak their native language, and they all just understand each other.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, you got someone speaking Japanese, you got someone speaking French in the same room, and then a bear is just growling, and they all somehow understand each other.
They all
But
understand each other.
at least when Tekken, when they're all doing that, there are subtitles, and I think that's one thing WWE what does well is at least recently, like Shinsuke Nakamura, just giving him the opportunity to create these promos that are pre-recorded, but they tell a story in his native language, and then you just throw some subtitles on there. I think that's super effective. So if there's anything that they take from AEW takes from them and gets inspired by, I think that's something that would be smart.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What after AEW Revolution? What is their next pay per view?
Won't be till Double or Nothing.
Yeah, it's
Double or Nothing?
Double or Nothing.
May.
Do you feel like, so you think his first match or feud is going to be with Bryan Danielson, and do you think it's going to be in Double or Nothing?
Yeah. If I had to, if
Like his debut match, where would you put him? Would you put him on a Dynamite or Collision, or would you throw him on a pay-per-view first?
honestly,
I would have him appear on like on a Collision or Dynamite.
like maybe
So
not
I get
have
the
a
ratings up, and then
match.
the match itself. Yeah, the match itself would be the pay per view, but like have him appear on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get him established that way. Maybe help the ratings go up too and the attendance.
Right. Segments for sure. So you would announce him being on Dynamite next week or whatever. Like they started getting better with that because like before it would just kind of be like day of, advertising of like a person. But yeah, like just advertising ahead of time on this date, you're gonna see this person, or
Big
whatever.
business.
Big business here. Slaps roof of car.
Yep.
Big business. Yeah, I mean, I think that initially they're going to show him off, and then he's going to have some conversations or promo work, and then eventually they'll throw him on a pay-per-view. I don't know if I'd give away his match on free TV, but I feel like Tony Khan's done a number of like dream matches on like a Dynamite or Collision without too much promotion.
Eric Bischoff playbook, baby. We hot shotting. Oh, you know who they could put him with? They could put him with
Eric
fucking
Bischoff in like WCW 2000 playing
yeah,
ship was sinking.
yeah. They could
you
put
were
him with
saying? Sorry.
They could put him with Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
True.
And how did Ric Flair say how long he's going to be with AEW? Basically until the wheels fall off or he's dead.
Well, it
Like,
sounds like he said until I'm guessing Sting retires. Maybe he's done then, but I don't know.
well, then he'd be
Wait, I'm with you to the end.
by Revolution.
You say what?
Oh my gosh. Oh, he said he was going to stay with Sting till the end, but like he didn't say anything after that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Assuming Revolution then, but maybe he's got a longer deal. Because I think didn't they announce his contract how long it was or no? They had that information somewhere.
Yeah.
Something we can
Somewhere on
find
the
out.
internet. What about Woo Energy? Are they still showing Woo Energy on every episode and drinking it and having
Yeah.
graphics up?
Woo energy. Oh yeah. That's right.
Woo!
What about Woo Wings? Are they just
Woo
doing
Wings?
close-ups of greasy ass wings every other match?
I didn't even know about that.
I saw that video. I don't like. Was that just like a temporary thing? Is he also just like attaching the word "woo" to like wings and
Whatever, man.
wings?
He's
I
a
guess so,
brand.
yeah.
More power to you, I guess.
Sick, yeah, man. I mean that's Yeah, he basically iconed that word. So
I mean, that's what I would do if I can't wrestle anymore. I'd just be doing car
Yeah.
insurance commercials or start a reality show or go on Big Brother 56 or whatever it is
And not getting paid,
and not getting paid. Exactly.
just keeping the truck.
Well,
he probably needs the money though.
Well, yes, because I feel like he's styling, profiling, but he's also blowing through that money, and he probably needs a financial advisor just because of
Yep.
all the styling and profiling he was doing for the past 40 years, 40 plus years.
Yep.